A respiratory health alert has been issued for St. Lucia due to poor air quality being experienced here on island following volcanic eruptions in St. Vincent. We are encouraging you right now to protect your health. It is best to remain indoors as much as possible, but if you must go out, please remember to wear a face mask covering your nose, your mouth and chin. Wear long clothing to protect your skin, and if possible, wear some goggles or glasses to protect your eyes. Good morning to you. My name is Jessie Leonce. This is the morning update live on NTN. We're a little late this morning with our broadcast, but better late than never. It is important most of all to bring you the latest developments coming from the government of St. Lucia. If you're joining us from the diaspora, special good morning to you. Residents right here in St. Lucia, special good morning to you as well. We continue to keep watch over the La Soufriere volcano in St. Vincent, as well as our local response to COVID-19. Before we get into the meat of things, I just want to take a look back at the appropriations bill that was tabled in the Honorable House just yesterday, the appropriations bill for 2021-2022 in Parliament by Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Economic Growth, Job Creation, External Affairs and the Public Service, Honorable Alan Shastney. The Prime Minister's address was under the theme Adapting, Overcoming and Persevering. We are a resilient nation. It follows the laying of the estimates of expenditure, you would recall, for the new fiscal year in the amount of $1.639 billion. The appropriation bill is the policy agenda for the government of St. Lucia, and it is within this year's budget that the Prime Minister will map the continued way forward toward building a resilient St. Lucia. The Prime Minister did give an overview of the past year, St. Lucia's adaptation to dealing with COVID-19 and the plan to continue to overcome the pandemic and guiding the country forward. We do have a few snippets. The first clip for the morning coming from the Parliament building in downtown Castries yesterday afternoon. Take a look.
A year ago, in 2019, this country was certainly in a better place than we've been when we first came in. And despite the largest health and social economic catastrophe of our lifetime, we have still managed better than the previous administration. We now know there is so much more to achieve, and we are confident that our strategies and policies are working. We have proven that we have the capacity to implement. Mr. Speaker, our cumulative investments in education with improvements to the quality of the buildings, our investments in teachers and modernizing our education system to digital education, the strengthening of healthcare, operationalizing OQU, building world-class facility in the South, our work on health insurance. Mr. Speaker, with infrastructure, we've rehabilitated 1/3 of the road network in this country to new standards, including drains and sidewalks. In sports, we introduced the Academy, upgraded sporting facilities, and created 5 model facilities to be replaced through the length and the breadth of this country. In security, we've invested in technology, institutional building training, our court systems, and our social systems. With the economy, we have created new business opportunities, encouraged and nurtured small businesses with access to financing. We are finishing T-Village in Groselet Village, which will be replicated in other communities. We reduced the VAT rate, and we are coming to continue to streamline and maximize and make taxation less burdensome in this country. We're committed to continuing to grow the economy so people have disposable income in their hands. Mr. Speaker, we want to be yet. Mr. Speaker, we know we are not where we want to be yet, but we are on a journey to build a world-class St. Lucia. There is no issue that this government has avoided. No issue that this government is afraid to confront. We are a government that creates socio-economic policies that are people-centric. We put plans we are relentless in the drive to build a new St. Lucia that is resilient.
And in getting into the intentions of his administration for this fiscal year, he did explain how the plans would orbit the recovery from the impact of this pandemic.
The current fiscal landscape and the environment in which we now operate is characterized by real GDP levels that have fallen by approximately 20% vis-a-vis 2019. A rising stock of accounts payables in excess of $100 million. Higher debt levels associated with the borrowing to replace the displaced revenues. The need to roll over above normal levels of debt on account of creditor requirements for liquidity to address their own challenges. Lower levels of non-conditional financing from international financial institutions over the coming years. A rise in unemployment, especially in tourism and related sectors, and social dislocation, and an increase in calls for fiscal support for supplement lost income from both the private sector and citizens. Mr. Speaker, 21-22 budget is constrained by relatively subdued revenue intake projected given by high levels of risk and uncertainty, as well as the continued spending pressures stemming from the ongoing impact of COVID-19 pandemic.
And we have a final clip from the Prime Minister. Mindful of the limited fiscal space, the focus of the budget is to limit the effects of the pandemic, continue implementation of social protection measures, also improved citizen welfare as well, secure economic recovery through targeted interventions toward creating even more jobs and stimulating the economy even further, including the infrastructure work that is ongoing now and other preparations for a post-pandemic world.
Consequently, Mr. Speaker, the fiscal strategy that must of necessity be pursued at the juncture in order to manage the fiscal health of the government and to support the economic recovery should include the following: adequate provisions for vaccines to protect us from the COVID-19 and safeguard the health of our people. The need to stimulate economic activity and growth mostly through grant and concessionary loan-funded capital expenditure projects, especially from the public sector, to create employment and boost domestic aggregate demand and consumption. Mr. Speaker, the rollout of the government's shovel-ready capital projects is expected to take 2 or more years to complete, during which time our lead economic sector, tourism, would have most likely have recovered. This injection of the domestic economy is then complemented by a variety of expenditure rationalization and containment, in which priority is given to the payment of key and non-discretionary expenditure line items, including salaries and wages to support demand and consumption in the domestic economy, and secondly, debt service and the principal repayment to meet our debt obligations. Expenditure deferment of lower priority items, Mr. Speaker, which, with a constrained revenue outlook, this budget calls for a clear prioritization of expenditure.
And those were snippets from the Prime Minister's address as he tabled the appropriations bill for 2021-2022 in Parliament yesterday afternoon. We continue with updates this morning on the COVID-19 front. St. Lucia records 12 new cases of COVID-19. The ministry indicates that this was out of a batch of 160 samples taken during the 9th to the 12th of this month. These individuals were seen at various community respiratory clinics. They were asked to isolate until their test results came back. Arrangements have since been made for them to be treated and placed in isolation further. Contact tracing is also underway. Confirmation was also received of the recovery of 18 individuals, bringing the total number of active cases right now, much to the satisfaction of the Ministry of Health, to 101. Presently, one of the active cases is requiring critical care at the respiratory hospital. These new cases that were just registered within the last 24 hours brings the total number of cases diagnosed in country to date since March of last year to 4,367. As of April 9th, a total of 23,257 individuals have received the first dose of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, and 9 individuals have received their second dose. Today, Wednesday, Vaccines are being administered at the VG Sports Complex, the Soufriere Hospital grounds, and the Dennery Mothers Preschool in Newfield, Dennery. So if you are interested in getting vaccinated, you are encouraged to pre-register on the website hmi.govt.lc, or you can call your nearest community wellness center, contact them, let them know that you're interested so that they can pre-register on your behalf. At this time, we have some more information in terms of the vaccination effort. The Ministry of Health continues to receive quite a bit of support for its COVID-19 vaccination campaign, and this time coming from CIBC First Caribbean International Bank. More in this report from Fresnel Neptune.
The Ministry of Health recently received a donation of 90,000 EC dollars from CIBC First Caribbean Bank aimed at enhancing the COVID-19 vaccination campaign in St. Lucia. Country head of CIBC First Caribbean Bank, Nigel Oliver, says his organization remains committed to continue partnering with the Ministry of Health to help fight the COVID-19 pandemic.
We're really looking forward to being able to use that 90,000 EC dollars to continue with the program. You have been doing good works, and we want to applaud you with respect to getting the vaccination program out and getting people sensitized and aware, and hopefully that can encourage some more persons to take the vaccine and to understand that this is really probably one of the main ways out of this pandemic, both for the wellness of the nation, the recovery of the economy.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belma George says she is very thankful for the support that CIBC First Caribbean Bank continues to provide towards St. Lucia's response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Vaccines have been the most effective and efficient public health measure in managing infectious diseases. So this is what is really going to assist us in getting between 70 to 90% of our country covered and getting back to some level of normalcy. So on behalf of the Ministry of Health, the government, the people of St. Lucia, we are extremely grateful for this collaboration, this donation, and it is towards health, it is towards life. So we appreciate it, and it is going to be used to strengthen our immunization program as we move forward to keeping our people healthy and reducing the impact of COVID-19 on our communities.
National Immunization Manager Tekla Jean-Baptiste expressed heartfelt gratitude for the generous donation and believes it will aid in getting more people vaccinated.
This donation, of course, will allow us to procure vaccines to vaccinate about 4,000 persons in our general population. And indeed, we are grateful for this. As I always say, we are all in this together. Let us vaccinate for ourselves, for our loved ones, and for all of us.
The Ministry of Health encourages people to get vaccinated to protect themselves and others from the COVID-19 virus. Reporting from the Communications Unit of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, I am Fresnel Neptune.
Thank you, Fresnel, for that report, and thanks to CIBC First Caribbean for their donation. Before we went to the report, we did let you in on where you can get vaccinated today. I just want to let you in on where you can get vaccinated for the rest of the week. So today is VG Sports Complex, Soufriere Hospital grounds, the Dennery Mothers Preschool in Newfield, Dennery. And tomorrow, if you want to get vaccinated, tomorrow you have time in your schedule. You could get vaccinated at the Philip Marsley grounds in Vieux Fort, also the Darren Sammy cricket grounds in Beausejour, if you have the time. And on Friday, you can get vaccinated at the Jack Mel Wellness Center, the Philip Marsley grounds again, and the Darren Sammy cricket grounds. And then on Saturday, you can get vaccinated from 9 a.m. all of the days, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. For Saturday, we have the VG Sports Complex. So please take note of that. And if you want to just take a look yourself to see where you fit in, where your schedule can accommodate, you can go on to the Ministry of Health and Wellness Facebook page. They do have all of the dates and the venues, locations available for you. But just a gentle reminder to get pre-registered, hmi.govt.lc. And you can also, if you don't have access to the online platform, you can call or contact the nearest community wellness center, let them know you're interested so they can do so on your behalf. And when you do venture out to get vaccinated, ensure that you carry with you, above all, your identification so that they can properly catalog everyone that's getting vaccinated and get a better picture of who's vaccinated and who's not from the population. We are due for a break. Do stay with us. When we come back, we hear from Professor Robertson from the UE Seismic Research Center, and he is at the Belmont Observatory in St. Vincent. They're all keeping a close watch on the volcano. Explosive eruptions continue. Pyroclastic flow is beginning to evolve the volcanic situation in St. Vincent. So stay tuned for word on that.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know? All the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth. All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. No, think about the children. Think about the children. How will we say that? Chemicals and GMOs are not the solution. Use organic and join.
Excessive agrochemical use, additives and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy and consume organic. A message from Rise St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP.
The good food revolution.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. This is the morning update for today, Wednesday, the 14th of April, 2021. We are live on NTN, coming to you from the Information Command Center of the GIS studios. In St. Vincent, we have the La Soufrière volcano continuing with explosive eruptions. A seismic activity at La Soufrière St. Vincent did show a similar pattern in the last 24 hours as it did the day before. If I'm just looking at the scientific update coming from the UE Seismic Research Center, they indicate that small long-period earthquakes continue to gradually increase in number after the explosive activity on 13th April, and these continued until another episode of explosive activity started at 8:30 p.m. 13th April, and this generated continuous seismic tremors which lasted for 4 to 5 hours. And this, after the tremors had died down, long-period earthquakes were again recorded, again slowly growing in numbers. The explosions which occurred pulsed for less than 40 minutes and produced pyroclastic density currents which appear to have gone down valleys that are draining towards the Rebecca River on the east coast of the island. PDCs are as hot as 200 degrees to 700 degrees Celsius, ground-hugging flows of ash and debris. The mud flows are reported in the Sandy Bay area. And it continues. We're hearing from Professor Robertson, who is based right now at the Belmont Observatory in St. Vincent. He's indicating that it is beginning to change the dynamic of this emergency on that island. The volcano continues to erupt explosively and has now begun to generate pyroclastic density currents, as you are aware by now. Its current pattern of explosion appears to be episodic, so stop and go. Over the past 24 hours, the time between each explosion has increased. Explosions and accompanying ashfall or similar or larger magnitude are likely to continue to occur over the next few days, impacting St. Vincent and neighboring islands such as Barbados, Grenada, and our own island home, St. Lucia. The volcano continues to be at alert level red, and we are at this time continuing here in St. Lucia to watch on over as we experience our own ashfall and the resultant poor air quality. As I mentioned at the start of this program, a respiratory health alert has been issued here in St. Lucia due to the ashfall and the resultant poor air quality here on island. You can see it on your car. You can almost get a sense of it in the air, and as far as we're hearing from the Met Office, there is low visibility overall. So the encouragement is that you remain indoors as much as possible. If you must head out, if you must venture out, wear a face mask that covers from your nose to your chin. So it covers your facial, your nose and your mouth. Also wear long clothing to protect your skin. And if you have available some goggles to wear, it may look a tad bit ridiculous, but it is for your safety to head on out, or glasses to protect your eyes. Many persons have been reporting irritation with their eyes due to that, as well as the Saharan dust coming over us. We want to hear from the Professor Robertson, who's based at the Belmont Observatory in St. Vincent. He did provide an update this morning with Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. Take a look.
All the land around Sufre now, given that it could put pyroclastic flow down any part and could reach the sea fairly easily, all of those areas now you have to consider that there must be a buffer outside. There must be a mile or two outside the landmass, where you now have to consider that the red zone extends, the area that you could be affected in a bad way. So, you know, if you have a boat in those areas, if you're fishing, and I know some people fishing, you know, off Soufrière and things like that, you don't want to be close to shore and thinking that the land is always dangerous. Now, the shoreline close to it is dangerous because things could come down the land and shoot towards you, and you won't be able to get out of the way. One of the concerns now that we would have would be, you know, people, for example, if anybody is living along the coast, or anybody still in say, Fitzhughes and Chateaubriand. Now that we have seen, and I think in the report, we've reported that the pyroclastic flows have reached the sea in the wet Wallaboo. For people who don't know who the wet Wallaboo is, as the first river you pass, if you go into the volcano on the leeward side, after you pass Richmond, you have to go across the river, and the river, remember that river has water in it, eh?
Yes.
It has a little bit of water in it because the pyroclastic flow has now buried all that water, and the water is now cutting back into the deposit. But that river is a river that it's reached the coastline. It reached the coastline and it shoot across and it reached outside the coastline. Now, if it has done that, it means that the next one that comes down doesn't have to be so big to, first of all, reach the coastline. And if one of the same size come down and can reach this coastline like this one, it will go further. It doesn't have to go that far. If you think of the geography, it doesn't have to go that far for it to be able to get around the barrier, the headland that is between Chateaubriand and, well, Fitzhughes and Richmond. There's a very small headland there that you could get around. And if it's big enough, all it needs is enough material for it to have enough. It's more the mass of the material and the speed at which it's going. If it's big enough, it can actually get eventually into the coastal areas at Fitzhughes and possibly Chateaubriand. That's why those areas now, given what it has done at this point, and it got to the sea yesterday morning, and that the April 13th, the early morning eruption is what brought it to the sea. It's gotten to the sea now. I wouldn't be surprised if it puts other stuff down there. It just would be a matter of time if it doesn't stop. For it to curve around, it will then start burning the headland, first of all, get around further, and slowly move inland and possibly get to those areas. So those areas have become much more risky places to be in.
That was Professor Robertson, geologist stationed at the Belmont Observatory in St. Vincent, speaking on the frequency of the explosive eruptions. He did indicate that they are very much still in the height of the eruption episodes, but of course the intervals at which they are happening are widening, so it's taking more time between eruptions to happen, really. He also did speak on the risk of the pyroclastic flow. We know that the flow is draining into the areas where you have the valleys around the volcano, and he spoke about the risk of the pyroclastic flow posing a risk essentially to a hazard to areas that previously weren't within the danger zone. So now we're seeing that the volcanic situation is evolving, and more and more persons, so we did note in the last 24 hours are being evacuated. So that is definitely something that needs to be noted by not only St. Vincent but the other islands that are assisting at this time. Take a look.
The activity continues where we'd expect that you have periodic explosions like you did, and that the gap in between them will continue to increase. And it's conceivable at some point that you will stop having the explosions and you could have a period of quiet. Now, we don't think that it's ended yet. And even though it then, the period where it's quiet goes for a long time, I don't think we'll be convinced that it's ended. And it's possible that at some point, you could start again with some more explosions, like you've had before. But generally, we won't be surprised if the pattern from now is one where you will have periods or episodes of explosive activity interspersed by periods of quiet activity. Quiet for people, but not so much for us, because we will see activity in the trunk.
That was Professor Robertson, geologist at the Belmont Observatory, continuing to watch over the La Soufriere volcano in St. Vincent at this time. Our thoughts and prayers continue to go out to them. Just want to remind you of the program launched by the government of St. Lucia, reaching out to individuals who have the capacity, the ability to be of assistance right now by accommodating families. You can let the government of St. Lucia know by going on to the website govt.lc and filling out a form indicating that you are able to accommodate a Vincentian family during this crisis. Donations can also be made monetary and otherwise to toward the St. Vincent and Grenadines La Soufriere volcano relief, to NEMO, the National Emergency Management Organization here on island. The donation accounts you can make monetary donations to: First National Bank account 6002760, Republic Bank account 2002817, Bank of St. Lucia account 901300136, and the First Caribbean International Bank account 1069692170. The items needed, in addition to monetary donations, non-perishable food items, water, lots of water. We know the water supply has been compromised due to the ash fall. Baby formula, baby cereal, diapers, adult diapers as well, feminine products, sanitizing products, and all of these supplies can be dropped off at the NEMO office in Bizet, or you could drop it at the local post offices near you. You can contact NEMO, let them know that you're interested in making a donation, or just drop it off. The number you can call is 452-3802. And now to our final story for the morning. St. Lucia's first responders have been equipped with the necessary training and technology to improve their responsiveness on duty. And in the last 2 weeks, we've been reporting on the company from the UK that has so far not only donated expensive equipment to enhance the emergency response here in St. Lucia, but they've also provided the training, and it did culminate with a ceremony just recently. So take a look at this report coming from Herma Demac. That's the fire service report. Okay, thanks Wayne for that. So, of course,
what started out as an ambulance donation to the St. Lucia Fire Service developed into a project that equipped St. Lucia's first responders with the necessary training and technology to improve their responsiveness when on duty. The closing ceremony of the Golden Hour project by Platinum and Surrey Ambulance Services was held on Friday, April 9th, 2021. At the ceremony, participants in the training exercise received their certificates, and the fire service received 3 new ambulances. Chief Fire Officer Joseph says the department is in a much better position after the training exercise.
So we've boosted our resource capacity. So you can see behind me a fleet of ambulances, donated ambulances, and equipment. And of course, you will hear about it in a while. We've also boosted our response capacity in the training that was provided to members of our department as well as the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. And also there's that opportunity for the Ministry of Health, the Police Department, and the Fire Department to work together, so to create a better synergy among the departments, so that we can provide a better service to St. Lucia.
Timothy Mordaunt, qualified instructor, paramedic, and chief executive officer at Platinum and Surrey Ambulance Services, says the aim was to aid in St. Lucia becoming one of the safest island destinations.
Well, we're all in the time of COVID at the moment. Yeah, and what we want to know is all these people that are coming here to travel, the tourists and everything else, which is so vital for the economy, are going to look for one of the safest islands to come to. And what we're doing is we're helping and promoting St. Lucia to be one of those safest islands. We're going to be donating more ambulances. We're going to be coming over and carrying out more training and more qualifying and increasing the skills and increasing the partnership working through all the emergency services. And our dream is not only for it to be the emergency services, that we'll come here and start teaching teachers, other government workers, hotel workers, everyone in what we call our community first response course. So there is a medical capability across the island.
Participant in the training exercise, Sergeant 385 Thompson of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, says their experience expanded his knowledge and ability as a first responder.
Having completed the training, we now understand that we can perform an initial medical assessment, and based on our observations and training, the relevant crucial information can be conveyed to the relevant body, like the responding appliances prior to the scene. So we have gotten the training that apart from securing the scene, we can make observation and relay that to the responding appliance, so they beforehand would have an idea exactly what is happening and what can be done. Prior to the arrival of the paramedics, we can also take necessary action, including how to apply pressure to wounds, applying abdominal thrust to a choking victim, or administering CPR to an unconscious person, which may be vital in saving that person's life or a limb.
Addressing the closing and handing over ceremony, Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Honorable Alan Chasney, expressed extreme gratitude to the members of Platinum and Surrey Ambulance Services and His Excellency Guy Mears for their contribution to the advancement of St. Lucia's first response capabilities.
When I heard today about the details of the training, this is a gift that lasts forever. The ambulances themselves, hopefully we do as good of a job as you have in maintaining them, but they will have an expiry date. But the training that you've provided lasts forever. And certainly I'm very happy to hear that the skill sets are not being transferred just to the individuals, but Mr. Joseph had the foresight to make sure that we had trainers here. I'm also very encouraged, and to give you the assurances of my government, that any additional training and the number of trips that's required for you to come back, you are always welcome in St. Lucia.
St. Lucia's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, His Excellency Guy Mears, who facilitated the donation and training, says he looks forward to a continued partnership with Platinum and Surrey Ambulance Services. From the Government Information Service, Humadi Mark reporting.
Thank you, Homer, for that report. And that brings us to the end of the morning update live on NTN. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Continue to keep safe, adhere to the COVID-19 protocols. And we're coming to find out that the same measures that are being advised in terms of a response to the poor air quality due to the ash fall from the La Sufria volcano works well and fits well into the basic infection prevention guidelines as administered by the Ministry of Health. That is to wear a face mask that is covering your nose, your mouth and chin, wear long clothing to protect your skin, wear goggles or glasses to protect your eyes, not to mention the COVID-19 protocols, the other ones, that is the observing the 6-foot distance, ensuring that you wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer. We still continue to confront COVID-19, and while we do have some of the population, about 20,000 of the population vaccinated, it is important to continue adhering to the protocols so that we can continue to be safe here on island. That's it for now. My name is Jessie Leon signing off. Do enjoy the rest of your day until we meet again. Parliamentary proceedings will continue this afternoon, so tune in to NTN for those proceedings as the parliamentary proceedings continue from downtown Castries. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.